Welcome to the second channel. I want to start out with a brief apology. I will not be using AI in the future to animate card backgrounds. That was a mistake, but I do want to make the best of a bad situation. One good thing that came from that is better communication with the audience and a little bit better transparency on my part. And I think I'd like to continue that going forward. I'm going to try weekly to give an update about what I've been doing that week to better communicate where I'm doing and some of the goals in the future. Sometimes it feels like I just disappear for months, and that's not something I like to do. It's hard because I don't want to clog up people's subscription feeds on the main channel. I think updates and community posts just don't feel right. This is less polished, barely a video in my opinion, but it's also one of those things that I can get out very consistently, hopefully. In the future, there's probably going to be some weeks where I don't have very much to talk about. Either I did a lot of grunt work or I didn't get much done in the channel front at all. You know, sickness, family time, other things that will probably come up that I can't think of right now. Regardless, I think it'd be a good outlet to try to communicate. I mean, this is the sort of unpolished content that you usually have to get through a Patreon. Don't tell anyone on the main channel about this, though. This is going to be a little secret club, okay? Anyway, do you want to see what 10,000 deck lists look like? Like all lined up together? Because that is one thing that I've been working on. This isn't something I did in 1 week. This is 6 months of manually downloading deck lists, specifically from the archive of TCG Player. I feel a bit burned. Like, how do I describe this? Part of me feels like Yu-Gi-Oh! Had a Library of Alexandria, and it was a website called Yu-Gi-Oh! Top Decks, where it was just an archive of topping decks from, I don't know, I want to say 2005 was the first time that I saw deck lists there, all the way to when it was last updated. I want to say that was 2024. Anyway, the website was a great resource, and then it went down. And it makes me feel really weird. Like, things on the internet are forever. And it does turn out that there was a mirror, that there's a fan website that does have the same information on it, but I didn't know that at the time. Anyway, I've been looking at the data set from TCG Player, and I now have an offline copy of everything up through 2024, and part of 2025, but I didn't finish because I was current at the point where I was. I'll finish 2025 this year, don't worry about that. But it also looks a little bit better to have 2004 to 2024, then we got a nice 20-year slice. That's minor details. But look at it go. Go, 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 go. It just keeps going on. There are a lot of decks, to tell the truth. And it's been a lot of data, and I've been parsing through it, and I have some processing done. The main goal for this project, and I guess there are a lot of secondary goals as well, is I wanted to have better record keeping. I wanted an offline copy. I wanted to be able to better communicate during streams when cards saw meta success. I want to better define what meta success is in general. Like, I've gone out on a limb and said that cards which have been played at one in the side deck of one deck in one tournament in the past get counted as meta at one point, and that might not be the right bar to set. There's quite a lot of tailing, actually. I think there's like 4,000 unique main deck cards that have seen success, which in terms of a statistics, there's like 14,000 cards today, so in 2026. So that's like 4 out of 14. That's not bad in terms of cards seeing actual success. aside from the point. And then there's side deck cards, and some of the side deck cards are also in there. And then don't get me started about extra deck cards. Extra deck cards are crazy in terms of meta success. It seems like everything in the extra deck has been tried at least a little bit, which is great. It seems like there's a lot less filler in Yu-Gi-Oh! Than I thought. I don't know where that bar is. The dataset does have a lot of tailing, which is a problem. So there's a lot of cards that are featured once or twice in the entire 20 years of the game's history. I think that probably shouldn't be considered meta at one point. There are some exceptions, and there are some patches in the game's history which are not so well documented, and I hope in the future to supplement this list with that from Yu-Gi-Oh! Top Decks, or at least the mirror, and get better results as a down the line. But boy, is that going to be a big task, just comparing and then archiving, and I'm probably going to scrape that one with Python, but then I got to wrestle the Python, and that's always a difficult thing. Try. But anyway, I've been compiling and sifting through data, and eventually there's going to be a big meta analysis. I'm joking and saying that it's my master's thesis in Yu-Gi-Oh!, which it sort of is. Don't worry, I'm going for the PhD in Yu-Gi-Oh! One day too. I think I'm going to specialize in deck building, but GOAT historiography is a high contender as well. That being said, I think having the second channel and updates is a good thing for me, and I hope it's a good thing for the audience as well. Sometimes we might explore dead ends. There are a few projects that have gotten scrapped, and unfortunately some things that have just become outdated by the time that I'm finished, or at least to a workable point. And it's sad. We'll go through the graveyard of lost ideas sometime. See some of the failed projects and see where things are turning up. Regardless, I'm going to try to update regularly, trying for weekly, sometime during the week. Not going to be consistent about the day. Got to keep you on your toes. But this is going to be something that I'm going to attempt to do more in the future. Transparency. Ask audience if there are particular things that are important, like potential use of AI music in the future. That's one of the things that it's in the background, and it would be extremely curated. It's one of those things that's just difficult to deal with, because copyright on YouTube in the music space is just bad, and everything in the creator library seems to be too busy and too loud in the right frequencies that I'm looking for. And if I try to hit it down with a low pass and then a high pass filter and then take the difference between the audio, it just cuts out too many of the overtones and it makes it sound really weird. But trying to, get the right mid-range. And I know that you can put it in the background and you can pan left and right and then have the vocal track in the middle, and it will do a little bit better, but that's a lot of inside baseball, and that's a future discussion, I guess. There's going to be missteps along the way, but I think documenting the road and I guess the travel along the road is a pretty good idea. So here's to enjoying the next year. Let's see how this experiment turns out.